Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumed Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today we're talking about a little bit of a woo-woo topic, but that's okay because we can take it however woo-woo we want to, right? This is a very woo-woo world. If you think about it, it's a spiritual world in the truest sense. Then there is this physical world, which some of our ancestors believe is the world of Maya, the world of illusion, the world of make-believe, okay? Whereas some people would think that the invisible world is the make-believe world, okay? So we're going to get very deep into the rabbit hole here. So I want you to put on your spiritual goggles or maybe your spirit hats on so you can actually start to embody these practices, okay? We're going to be talking about manifestation. We're going to be talking about chakras, okay? We're going to be talking about all of that because it's very important that we start to explore these very ancient concepts and learn about them in this current age in a physical sense. There's a lot of new age spirituality and different concepts that are converged with old ones, and the teachings are very scattered in different places. So it's very important that we start to build our own personal practice with actually experiencing these things, right? And trying to access feeling what this feels like. Like, can you feel an energy center in your throat? Can you feel an energy center in your heart? Can you feel one in your belly? Can you feel pulsing here sometimes? Okay, now we're getting to the physical sensations and actually understanding what the nadis are, right? Because the nadis are like, you almost want to think of it like subway stations, right? Subway lines going across the body, and almost like the vagus nerve connects all of them, right? And the vagus nerve is what helps us relax, and it's the process of relaxation from that fight or flight, that reptilian sense in the brain, okay? So now that we have that clear, you want to understand that to manifest, we have to go from the top of the head, the crown, the swadhisthana, all the way down into the muladhara, the root support, okay, the very first base level. So usually in order for us to, for someone who's trying to open their chakras, they usually do it from the bottom to the top, right? And just because you have them open doesn't mean they're balanced, so that's a whole other work. You could be using a yogic practice, you could be using sound wave entrainment, whatever you're using to try and open these up, or maybe even doing some counselor work or trauma-related work where you're getting rid of the traumas. Like, for instance, I went through a program called Spiral twice to be able to actually activate and unclog my chakras so that I can actually move forward. And then balancing it and like integrating it is the tough part as well afterwards. And sometimes you see like results months later, a year later, 2 years later. So, I'm prepared for what is to come in terms of this, okay? But anyway, the manifestation current, okay? You will understand that, in yoga, a lot of people do headstands or handstands, right? Is so that the blood flow can go up to the top of the head. Why is this important? You want the energy on the top of your head to flow into the base. Energy is constantly flowing into the base as we're much more physically oriented, and we are in this physical 3D space. So people who are more into that, like into the physical world, if you want to tap into the spiritual world, you want to access this part, okay? So you might have experienced this. You have a lot of great ideas and great things happening, but you cannot manifest them. You just can't seem to bring them into the physical world. Well, that's the block of the subway station, right? There's some kind of a block happening there within your chakras that is preventing the manifestation to take place, okay? Perhaps it's in regards to your solar plexus. You're not taking action. Maybe it's regard to how you're expressing yourself. You're not expressing yourself enough in regards to what you want. You're not abracadabra, I will create as I speak. You're not doing that. You're not speaking about it. Okay, so let's try to break this down. Like, let's say that you want to let's use the example of getting a better body, right? Because it's 2021, I'm sure we're all interested in that concept. Okay? So, okay, first of all, we have to redefine what health means to us. Okay? Understanding, okay, we sit in meditation, we understand, why do we actually want our body? What is our bigger purpose? How is it going to help us with our soul's mission on this planet to have a better body? Well, it'll give me more energy. It'll make me feel much more freer in my body. Like, start listing these things and start doing research on different things you can do for your health. That's starting activating of the crown. Okay? You're basically putting your antenna out into the world and you're seeing what resonates with me in terms of health. Like, can I find some health YouTube channel, some podcasts, some things to actually help me on this journey? Am I finding a certain individual that just clicks when I see their posts or whatever? Or maybe I came across this one article or this one book that really changed my life and opened my eyes to health and the truth about it. Okay, this is what you're doing. You're accessing the crown in this sense, right? You're like, brrr, antenna sending out into the world. But then what you're doing is you're visualizing, using the clarity, using the clairvoyance, using your intuition, and tuning into how can you actually imagine yourself carrying this body and feeling it, okay? And then not only that, but you start speaking about it. Man, I'm noticing my posture is a little bit different today, okay? As an example. Or another one could be, man, my clothes aren't even fitting me anymore. Like, they're all like, small for me. Whoa, that's interesting. Someone asks you, gives you a comment or a compliment. Hey, have you been working out? Are you looking after your health? You look good. You embody that compliment. You don't reject it away, right? You're speaking about it still. You're in this space, so you accept it with love. Then we're working our way down. You guys are noticing this, right? Which is, before I go into this next one, I just want you guys to really, really understand that you have to take that basal energy. Sometimes that basal energy gets us to, be fearful, or sometimes go into addiction or addictive patterns, right? So, like, for instance, drugs, pornography, smoking, all this kind of stuff, it comes from that repressed basal energy that we can't move around. So if you are getting cravings and all this kind of stuff, you want to practice doing Kegel exercises, okay? Kegel exercises are going to clench that energy, move it up, and almost with your breath, you want to clench all your intrinsic muscles and actually visualize you bringing it up as a practice. Because we are working our way down to this current, but if you haven't really opened up that blocked energy that's stored down there, it's not going to find its way out of there. So even before you start doing this manifestation process, you want to do Kegels, okay, to really clench. It's basically the muscles that you clench right when you pee, right? So imagine if you're in an alleyway somewhere peeing, and someone just stopped you. There was a threat or danger. You would just hold that pee, pull your pants up, right? That is that muscle. Okay, practicing that. So, yeah, doing Kegel exercise is really important in terms of this whole manifestation process too. So I just want to notice that. Do it in your spare time. No one knows you're doing it either. You can be sitting in a car and doing Kegels. You know what I mean? Like going to work and doing it. Nobody knows you're actually doing it unless you're exaggerating your clenches or whatever. So just do it. Just do it. Do that to get it out of the way. Anyway, from the heart, you want to be very compassionate and self-loving in this process with yourself, right? And then when you're doing then you're going down into the solar plexus. You're taking action on that body. You're actually doing the steps, right? You're going on the treadmill. Maybe you're doing some CrossFit, some P90X, whatever you've chosen as your craft, right? Some calisthenics, some yoga, some kind of boxing or fighting practice. You could be doing some kind of dance or gymnastics. You have all of these chances, right? To be able to come, do I love this? Coming from the heart is do I love this practice? If you're not enjoying just basic going to the gym, change it around. Change it around in some way. You have to start to slowly enjoy movement. I just have a movement practice where I'm just like exploring on a mat, like how am I enjoying this movement? Let me just explore, have fun with it. If I do some push-ups, great. And of course, I have my routine and my rituals, and I push myself to work out. Besides that, I also have a movement-based practice where I'm like, okay, I'm going to explore what my body is capable of and what it can do and what it wants from me right now. Maybe it wants me to stretch and release some tension from my lower back, right? Maybe it wants me to access my fingers in some unique way. So I have to listen to my body's intelligence and actually go into that, okay? Then we go into the sacral, which is all about our fluidity and our creativity. This is also accessing our flow states in a sense, okay? Our creativity is that water energy, that flow states, okay? This is very ethereal in a sense of like air, space, okay, time, all that stuff is up here. Whereas earth, wind, water, fire, the earthly elements is down here if you want to look at your body almost as this cosmic map, right? So you're taking the cosmos and you're anchoring it, that spirit, into the body. That's what you're doing, okay? So you're living the metaphysical. You are living it. You're not just talking about it anymore, right? The thoughts up here with the visualizations up here. You are actually speaking about it. You're anchoring it in your heart with compassion for yourself. You are taking action on it. You are being creative with it in some way. And then eventually you are anchoring it into the physical world by having it show up in a physical way, through the action, through all of the process, right? So we discussed this process, this manifestation current, okay? Now, there are many different other ways to do this, but one thing that I want to leave this video with is I want you guys to really, really understand this concept of the law of detachment, okay? So this states that if we put something on a pedestal, we're going to repel that thing, okay? Because it's coming from this frequency of fear. It's like, oh, it's this needy, desperate energy that if we don't get it, something will happen. But that's how some of us are manifesting, though. It's like we need it, it's not that it's a want or a desire. Do you want a relationship or do you need one? Do you need food or do you want food? Okay, this is very important language because this neediness is putting out into the universe that I can't live without this. This is my bread and butter. Like, I need this thing in order for me to survive, and that's a survival mentality, which you go into this victim blaming. So I want to remind you, like, have that thing in mind, but then have the ability to let it go. That's what's actually going to speed up the process of manifestation. This kind of level of detachment where you're like, hey, it's cool if it happens, but it's cool if it doesn't happen too. And then you kind of move into that consistency pattern. You have the end result in mind. You have the end in mind all the time, but then you also have this willingness to walk away, this detachment from the outcome. You've heard these terms before, I'm sure. But you just, you let it go. You're like, ta-da, it's gone. You spend all this time working for it, it's gone. But then sometimes, if you just leave it, you forget about it too. So it's important to remind yourself to do it as well. This is why things like having a vision board or something like an affirmation on your phone or things like that, or a symbol or a tattoo, right? All these things can remind you of that concept again. So the reminding is also an important aspect of this, all right? Well, anyway, I hope this was a longer video, I know, but I hope you enjoyed this video and, share it with someone who needs it currently at this time. 2021, let's make our manifestations happen. Let's make it real. Okay, let's make it real. Let's not just, think about it and not talk about it to others. Let's start manifesting it. Let's start expressing it. Let's start living through it. Let's start embodying it. Okay, so it becomes us. We attract what we are. So our character has got to become this vibrant being. As you access this manifestation current, leave me a message in the comments how this works out for you and how important it is to be able to really access this power. Okay, so have an amazing day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. I'll see you guys next time.